What if I told you that the greatest library of wisdom ever compiled was not written in any book, but grown from the soil? That the most profound sermons were not spoken by human tongues, but whispered on the fragrance of a blooming flower or in the silent, stoic presence of an ancient tree? For millennia, humanity has looked to the heavens for answers, seeking gods in the stars. But what if the truest connection to the divine, to the very blueprint of creation, has been right here, at our feet, all along? We have been taught to see the world of plants as a passive backdrop to our human drama, a resource to be consumed, a decoration to be admired. This is the great forgetting. We have forgotten that these beings are our elders. They are the silent alchemists who transform light into life, the master chemists who hold the molecular keys to perception, healing, and consciousness itself. They are not merely ingredients, they are gatekeepers, they are teachers. In this journey, we will not simply discuss plants. We will seek to remember an ancient dialogue. We will travel back to the dawn of consciousness when the first humans learned from their green allies. We will explore how these sacred botanicals were woven into the very fabric of mystery schools, shamanic traditions, and forgotten spiritual sciences across the globe. We will decode the messages held within their spirit and understand how they can unlock the hidden architecture of our own minds. Prepared to look at the world around you not as a collection of objects, but as a council of living intelligences. Prepared to learn the language of the Green Kingdom. To truly understand the spiritual power of sacred plants, we must journey into the mists of time, to an era when the veil between the seen and unseen was thin, and humanity lived in profound communion with the natural world. Consider the very genesis of myth. Across cultures, we find echoes of a golden age, a primordial garden where humans and nature existed in perfect harmony. In these tales, plants are not mere flora, they are often the source of life, knowledge, and even immortality. Think of the mythical tree of life, bearing fruits of wisdom and everlasting sustenance, a concept found in various forms from ancient Mesopotamia to the Norse Yggdrasil. These are not simply quaint fables, they are deeply encoded memories of a time when the spiritual significance of the plant kingdom was self-evident. The archaeological record itself whispers of this ancient connection. Pollen analysis from burial sites suggests that specific plants were intentionally placed with the deceased, not merely as decoration, but perhaps as guides or offerings for the journey beyond. The discovery of ancient brewing vessels containing residues of psychoactive plants hints at ritualistic use dating back millennia. These were not recreational indulgences. They were deliberate attempts to alter consciousness, to step outside the confines of ordinary perception and commune with the spiritual realm. Consider the ancient Egyptians who revered plants like the blue lotus, associating it with rebirth and the sun god Ra. Its imagery adorns tombs and temples, suggesting a profound spiritual significance that extended beyond its aesthetic beauty. Similarly, in ancient Greece, Eleusis held its famous mysteries for nearly 2,000 years, while the exact nature of the kykeon, the ritual drink consumed by initiates, remains debated. Evidence strongly suggests it contains psychoactive plants that induced profound mystical experiences considered essential for spiritual awakening. These were not public spectacles, but deeply guarded secrets passed down through generations of initiates who understood the power held within these botanical sacraments. Moving eastward, the Vedic traditions of ancient India speak of soma, a sacred plant or its derivative whose consumption was central to their rituals and understanding of the cosmos. The hymns of the Rig Veda are filled with praises for its divine properties, its ability to expand consciousness and connect the individual with the universal. The identity of Soma has been lost to time, but its enduring presence in these foundational texts underscores the profound role that specific plants played in shaping their spiritual worldview. Across the Pacific, the indigenous cultures of the Americas have maintained an unbroken lineage of plant wisdom. From the Amazonian shamans who navigate the intricate spiritual landscapes revealed by ayahuasca, to the Native American tribes who hold ceremonies with sacred tobacco and peyote, the understanding that certain plants possess a unique spiritual power remains vibrant and integral to their way of life. These traditions view plants not as inert resources, but as sentient beings, spirits with their own lessons and healing capacities to offer. These are not isolated incidents or quaint cultural curiosities. They are threads in a global tapestry, woven from the shared human experience of encountering the profound spiritual potential within the plant kingdom. They speak to a time when humanity understood that the earth itself was a living, breathing entity, and that its botanical children held a key to unlocking the deepest mysteries of existence. This historical and philosophical context is not just about looking back. It is about remembering an ancient truth that has been largely forgotten in our modern materialistic worldview. It is about recognizing that the spiritual power of sacred plants is not a New Age fad, but an ancient inheritance waiting to be rediscovered.
So how do these plants work their magic? How can a simple leaf, or root, or flower unlock the gates of perception and grant access to profound spiritual insight? To understand this, we must move beyond the limited language of modern pharmacology and into the symbolic, resonant language of esoteric science. The first key is an ancient principle known as the Doctrine of Signatures. This doctrine, understood by alchemists and mystics from Paracelsus to Jakob Boehme, proposes that nature has inscribed its purpose onto the form of every plant. It is a form of living hieroglyphics. A plant's shape, color, habitat, and behavior are not random. They are a direct signature of its energetic and spiritual properties. A plant that tenaciously clings to rock faces may offer the spirit of resilience. A flower that follows the sun across the sky holds the signature of attunement and devotion. The spiraling pattern of a vine echoes the upward path of consciousness and the very structure of the cosmos itself. This is not mere poetry. It is a deep ecological and spiritual truth. The universe communicates through pattern and form. By learning to read these signatures, the ancient sages could understand a plant's medicine without clinical trials, because they saw the plant not as a collection of chemicals, but as a living idea, a manifested thought of the earth itself. This leads us to a deeper understanding. Every plant is not just a biological organism, it is a physical anchor for a non-physical consciousness. Call it a diva, a dryad, or a plant spirit. This is the intelligence, the unique vibratory essence of the plant. Think of the physical plant, the roots, the stem, the leaves, as a perfectly constructed radio antenna. Its unique form, its molecular structure, is designed to receive and transmit a very specific frequency of cosmic wisdom. The spirit of sage transmits clarity. The spirit of rose transmits divine love. The spirit of the mighty oak transmits strength and ancestral connection. When we interact with these plants, especially the ones deemed sacred, we are not merely ingesting inert matter, we are engaging in a spiritual communion. The most potent sacred plants, the ones often called entheogens,
meaning that which generates the divine within, contain what we can call molecular keys. From a mundane perspective, these are simply psychoactive alkaloids, but from an esoteric perspective, they are master keys, forged in the heart of nature to unlock the hidden doorways of human consciousness. Our brain, our very being, is a grand temple with myriad chambers we rarely enter. These chambers hold the potential for mystical experience, ancestral memory, and direct communion with the divine intelligence of the universe. Our everyday consciousness, with its filters and survival mechanisms, keeps these doors locked. The sacred molecules are the keys that fit these locks perfectly. They do not create the experience, they simply open the door. They temporarily dissolve the filters, silence the inner censor, the ego, and allow our consciousness to expand, to perceive the ocean of reality in which it normally only swims. This is not a hallucination, an unreal experience. It is a revelation, an experience of what is more real, a reality that is always present, but usually veiled from our limited senses. The plant, then, is not the source of the vision, but the key that unlocks the visionary potential that lies dormant within us all.
The molecular key, however, does not work in a vacuum. A key inserted into a lock without intention, without the gentle pressure to turn it, does nothing. This brings us to the crucial and often misunderstood principles of set and setting. In esoteric terms, this is the science of ritual resonance. Set is the internal state of the seeker. It is your intention, your humility, your focus, your spiritual preparation. The consciousness of the plant is not a passive chemical to be exploited. It is a vast intelligence to be petitioned. Your intention is the question you pose to its living library. Are you seeking healing? Are you seeking knowledge? Are you seeking a vision of your true self? Approaching a master plant without a clear and humble intention is like walking into the world's most sacred temple and shouting aimlessly into the void. The spirit of the plant responds to the vibration of the seeker. A clear, focused, and respectful intention acts as a tuning fork, aligning your consciousness with the specific wisdom you need to receive. Setting is the external environment, but it is far more than mere physical comfort. It is the creation of a sacred container, a temporary temple. This is why traditions across the world have always used ceremony, the cleansing of the space with smoke or sound, the establishment of an altar with meaningful objects, the casting of a protective circle. These are not superstitions. They are energetic technologies. They serve to insulate the experience from the chaotic noise of the mundane world, creating a resonant chamber where the subtle voice of the plant spirit can be heard without distortion. It is the difference between trying to hear a delicate whisper in a hurricane versus in a soundproofed library. For the most profound engagements, many traditions insist on a preparatory period, often called a dieta. This involves abstaining from certain foods, activities, and even thoughts for days or weeks beforehand. This is not about arbitrary rules, it is about purification. Everything we consume, food, media, conversations, carries an energetic signature. The dieta is a process of quieting the static of your own being. By simplifying your physical and energetic inputs, you clean the mirror of your perception, allowing the subtle reflections from the plant consciousness to appear with breathtaking clarity. Finally, we must address the shadow. These sacred teachers do not exist solely to show us cosmic light and blissful beauty. A true teacher shows you what you need to see, not just what you want to see.
And often, what we need to see are the parts of ourselves we have repressed, feared, and denied. The plant may take you into the underworld of your own psyche, forcing you to confront your deepest fears, your unhealed traumas, your inner demons. The uninitiated call these experiences bad trips. The initiate understands them as a divine purga, a cleansing. The plant spirit is an alchemist, and it knows that to create gold, you must first burn away the dross. It holds up a flawless mirror to your soul, showing you the poison so that it may be drawn out. These challenging journeys are often the most profoundly healing, for it is only by facing our own shadows that we can integrate them and become whole. The plant does not create the darkness. It simply illuminates what is already there, hidden in the corners of your being, waiting for the loving light of your own awareness.
The wisdom of the plant kingdom is not locked away in remote jungles, accessible only to a select few. It is a living, breathing presence available to all who learn how to listen. But how do we begin this dialogue in our modern lives? First, a word of profound respect and caution. The master-teacher plants, the powerful entheogens, are not to be approached lightly or without guidance. They demand immense preparation, a sacred container, and often the presence of a trained elder or shaman who has a deep, lifelong relationship with the plant spirit. We do not endorse illegal activity, and this knowledge is shared not as a reckless invitation, but to restore a lost context. The true work does not begin with these powerful and often restricted plants. It begins in your own garden, in your local park, with the humble and willing allies that surround you every day. This practice can be done with any plant, from a simple house plant to a mighty oak. First, find your plant. Sit comfortably before it and quiet your mind. For a few minutes, simply breathe. Let go of the day's concerns and become present. Next, observe with soft eyes. Do not just look at it. See into it. Notice the intricate patterns on its leaves, the subtle gradations of its color, the way it holds itself in space. Then extend your other senses. If appropriate, gently touch a leaf. Feel its texture, its life force. Inhale its fragrance, its subtle breath. Finally, close your eyes and listen. This is not a listening with the ears, but with the heart. Quiet the chatter of your inner monologue. In the stillness, silently ask the plant a question. What do you have to teach me? What energy can I learn from you? Do not expect a voice in your head. The answer may come as a feeling, a wave of peace, a surge of resilience, a sense of deep-rootedness. It may come later as a sudden insight or a creative idea. This is the beginning of the dialogue. Many plants have a special affinity for the dream realm. Safe and legal herbs like mugwort, chamomile, or lavender can be powerful allies. Before sleep, create a small sachet of the dried herb. Hold it in your hands and set a clear intention. You might say, "Spirit of this plant, I ask for your guidance in my dreams tonight. Please bring me clarity on," and state your issue. Place the sachet in your pillowcase. Keep a journal by your bed. Upon waking, before your mind becomes busy, write down any feelings, images, or symbols from your dreams, no matter how strange they seem. Over time, you will begin to recognize the symbolic language through which the plant spirits communicate. A common challenge is the feeling that nothing is happening. This is the impatience of the modern mind. This work is subtle. It is about relationship, not transaction. The communication may not be a thunderclap. It may be the simple feeling of calm that stays with you for an hour after your attunement meditation. Be patient. Like any relationship, trust and understanding grow over time. Another obstacle is the inner skeptic, the voice that says, "I'm just making this up." To this, the answer is to suspend disbelief during the practice. Give yourself permission to enter the mystery. The validation you seek is not external proof, but the internal fruits of the practice: greater peace, enhanced creativity, and a growing sense of connectedness to the web of life. This is the real practical magic.
We have journeyed far. We began by remembering a forgotten covenant, the ancient global understanding of plants as our first spiritual teachers. We decoded the Doctrine of Signatures, learning to read the living language of nature. We came to understand the plant not as a thing, but as a spirit, a consciousness whose molecular structure offers us the very keys to unlock the divine temple of our own inner world. We have seen that this power is not a brute force to be taken, but a subtle intelligence to be communed with through intention, ritual, and respect. To reconnect with the sacredness of the plant kingdom is to perform a vital act of healing, both for ourselves and for the world. In an age of disconnection, where we are taught to see nature as a dead resource, this path is a radical act of remembering. It is remembering that the earth is a conscious, living being, and we are not its masters, but its children. The wisdom we seek, the healing we crave, the connection we yearn for, does not lie in some distant future or external technology. It lies dormant in the soil, waiting patiently in the silent humility of a single green leaf. So I invite you not just to watch, but to participate. The next time you walk in a park, or tend to a garden, or even brew a simple cup of tea, pause, look beyond the form and feel for the presence. See the teacher that stands before you. Offer your awareness as a gift and be open to the subtle wisdom you receive in return. This is the path back to the garden, and the gate is always open. If these teachings resonate with your soul's journey, subscribe and join us at the Serpent Scroll as we continue to unfurl the sacred wisdom of the ages. Share your own insights and experiences with your plant allies in the comments below. The knowledge of one can be the awakening of many. Until next time, walk with reverence.